Hello, creepy critters. Today I'm here to talk about my top 5 favorite horror movies. My number 1 would be George A. Romero's 1968 Night of the Living Dead. It starts out with Barbara and Johnny making their way to put a wreath on their father's grave when they are accosted by a very strange person who ends up being the first zombie in the George A. Romero series. This movie is so fantastic. I don't even know how to categorize it. It's nostalgic. It's got, all sorts of conflict and tension and terror and dread and...
You're insane. The cellar's the safest place.
I'm telling you, they can't get in here.
And I'm telling you, those things turned over our car.
The overall feel of it is just so nostalgic to me. Being able to watch something that epic, the black and white feel of it is really cool because it makes it like more one-dimensional or more like realistic and raw. So Barbara runs from the graveyard. And ends up at the house, the farmhouse there, and meets Ben.
It's all right.
Ben and Barbara go in, and they end up finding that there are other residents in the house, that being the 7 of them: Ben, Barbara, Helen, Tommy, Judy, Cooper, and Karen. This is by far, I say a lot of people think that Dawn of the Dead is his gem, and I wouldn't want to argue with that, but Night of the Living Dead is definitely just like perfection. Like, we wouldn't have any of the zombie films, franchises, or comic books, or action figures, or anything that we have now that hadn't been spawned from Night of the Living Dead. Apart from societal norms, which I'm sure you've already read about, heard about if you're interested in horror films or Night of the Living Dead, the role was not made for a black man to play Ben, but I think it worked out really, really well because of that fact, because it made it more human and more, believable that, these are people that are being hunted by zombies, and they are just people. It doesn't matter what color you are. Ben is basically our hero in the movie, I'd have to say, and the ending is very sad and bleak, but and it shouldn't, you kind of want it to end differently every time you watch it, but it's just something that makes sense, like George always said that Ben had to die, and it was written in the script before it was given to the actors, and I think it worked out that way. It was a horrific ending to a horrific story that mesmerized many people. And if you haven't seen Night of the Living Dead, I recommend you see it probably before watching my video, but it is a great video, and it's my favorite horror movie by far. My second favorite horror movie of all time is Cemetery Man, also known as Dellamorte Dellamore. Also derived from the comic book Still and Dog. It was made in 1994. I know the ins and outs of this movie, so I shouldn't have a problem explaining it. But no, it's my absolute favorite. Like, how many ways can I go into this? It's surreal, it's poetic, it's horrifying. It's got necromancy and zombies and guns and sex.
We can't. I'm alive. And you're dead.
I'm not prejudiced, my love.
You know, the director is Michael Sovia, who actually said that he would never make another film after Cemetery Man because he said he could never make anything as beautiful as this movie, and he never has. Not since 1994. He's worked on film projects that were just strictly for commercial use and not actual movies. It stars Rupert Everett. He is the watchman of a cemetery at night, and the 7th day after the dead have been buried, they return to life and come back from their graves. He calls them returners.
No, please don't. He's only eating me.
Move aside.
Mind your business. I shall be eaten by whoever I please.
This is my business. They pay me for it.
And his job is to put them to rest again and keep the town at peace from having zombies invade without anyone really knowing. There's a lot to it. I really highly recommend it. He has a sidekick that is kind of slow and mute, but funny and interesting, smart in his own ways. I mean, I think I can relate to Nagi in a lot of ways because he's just cool.
He has a real passion for dead leaves. Can't stand it when the wind blows them away.
In the movie, several times, the main woman was Anna Falsey, I believe her name is, who plays She. Just She is what she goes by in the movie. I never really mention her name, but she reappears as different actresses in the movie and haunts Dellamorte. It's just absolutely beautiful and epic. And everybody has their own point of view on what the ending is. And I'd say for one thing for sure, do not go into it expecting a George Romero movie. It does have zombies in it, however, it is not a zombie movie. The last 20 minutes of the film does not have any zombies in it whatsoever. It is more of a poetic, gothic horror film, and I hope you enjoy it and check it out. My third favorite horror movie would be Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Directed by Tobe Hooper in 1974. This movie automatically had me drawn in by the visuals of the camera flashes and the corpses and the radio, the sun flares and solar flares, and it was just absolutely entrapping. So Sally Harvestine and Franklin, her brother, are on their way to see a house that was either given to them by their relatives or their grandfather's house that had been derelict for some time, with in a van full of other friends that they had come along with them. It starts out pretty quickly. Things start to go wrong. They pick up a hitchhiker. We all know where that goes.
What are you doing?
Hey, man, put that knife up.
But some things I wanted to talk about was that, honestly, a lot of people say it's just a woman running around screaming and is boring as shit. But it's not to me. It's really not. I think that, as weird and gross as it is, and that it's also based off of an Ed Gein and his grave diggings and such, I kind of relate to Leatherface. I don't know what it is. I relate to some of these horror movie characters in a way because I feel like he's sort of like Frankenstein in that he is just misunderstood in some ways, I guess. But obviously he's a terrifying asshole, so but he's cool. I mean, what's more to like than Leatherface? If you listen to the radio, you can hear all of these horrible events that are happening, droning on and on and on throughout the first 10 minutes of the film. It's actually pretty cool if you actually listen to it. I know that Tobe Hooper once in an interview said that the way he got his idea for Texas Chainsaw Massacre was he was standing in a Sears in a shopping mall during Christmas, and we all know how fucking horrible that is. So he was standing in Sears during Christmas, and he was trying to think of a way that he could clear a crowd really fast, and he saw a wall of chainsaws, and he thought, that's it. That's what I'm going to make this movie about. So that was some pretty good judgment there, because chainsaws are scary as shit. I don't care who you are. The sound of it, being chased by it, it's just terrifying. I'd like to also note how riveting and raw this movie is. I think it's best watched in its original VHS format. And no, it's not because I'm a horror snob, it's because it looks better that way. It looks like it's meant to be grainy and horrible and like dreary and interesting, Though I would say that the 4K edition is very much enhanced, and you can see even goop dripping from the corpse's eyes and mouth in the cemetery. It is disgusting and awesome. So the last few frames of the movie when Sally's getting away are you're really rooting for her, you're fighting for her, and she gets this trucker to stop, and you think she's gonna drive off, and then they have a mishap, and then she finally gets in the back of this pickup truck just barely in time, and she's laughing her ass off, just in absolute insanity at the end of the movie. And it's just an awesome ending, I think, to that film. I think there should be more women laughing at horrible things and getting away with it. favorite horror movie, number 4. I don't even know if they should be done in any particular order, honestly, because I love all of them pretty much about the same. Is Dead Alive, aka Braindead. This movie, I'm sure a lot of horror fans have seen and enjoy around the world. It's directed by Peter Jackson in 1992. It stars Timothy Balm. Just a fun, over-the-top splatter flick that I think anybody can enjoy no matter, I mean, I saw it when I was like 7, so. Basically, the storyline is that Lionel and his mother live together, and he starts to see a woman named Paquita, and they go to the zoo, and his mother follows along being nosy and bitchy as she is, and ends up getting bitten by the simian rat monkey in one of the cages. And gets this virus, this zombie virus disease, and spreads it to every person she comes in contact with, basically. There's so many one-liners. Like funny things that even to this day I repeat with my friends. It's just hilarious, you know, like you got a baby that gets put in a blender and it's funny. And like there's a priest doing kung fu.
I kick ass for the Lord!
You have a nurse zombie getting pregnant. You have like, I mean, it's just ridiculous and hilarious. And you know, Lionel's uncle is also involved in getting the home from Lionel after Lionel's mother's death, and throws a party in which ensues zombie chaos.
Party's over.
And I actually had the pleasure of meeting Timothy Balm at the Creature Feature Weekend this last year, and got a actual lawnmower blade signed by him, which I have up on my wall. Oh yeah, I actually really love how Lionel gives his tranquilizers to the zombies through the nose or eyeball every time that he gives it to them. At one point giving them tranquilizers that are a stimulant and brings them back to a mega zombie state. This movie probably has most death kills, bloodiest movie ever, next to Permuda's Lord of the Living Dead, which if you haven't seen, you should check out too. It's not quite as high quality, but it's pretty much, it's good. It's zombie killing chaos. Now, for number 5, my absolute favorite newer horror film is Terrifier with Art the Clown. This has become an outrageous spectacle of like clown, supernatural. It's melded into Terrifier 2, which grossed in box offices and shown mass theaters. They're actually re-releasing Terrifier in theaters this coming month, and I will definitely go see it because I've never seen it on the big screen. I have probably, they only did a very small limited viewing of their original movie. I saw it when it first came out, and I was intrigued by this clown. was creepy. It was just unsettling, you know. It wasn't over the top with jagged teeth like it or anything, but like just this creepy clown guy, you know. And then like the movie starts out with two girls on the way home from a party, and they're drunk, so they can't drive, so they do the good thing and they go to a diner or pizza place to get some food.
D. What? Look.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that's not funny. I'm about to scream.
Hey, handsome.
Cut it out.
My friend wants your number.
I'll fucking kill you.
Come buy us dinner.
In which, on the way there, they encounter Art the Clown. And he soon becomes the antagonist of the movie by following them. And it's just brutal. Brutal, realistic, 1980s style. Just realistic horror film. This movie is just honestly what I've been craving for a very long time with horror movies. A lower budget, higher effort movie with an outstanding cast, a great director, and you know, a good storyline. There's a lot of questions, but I assume that there will be answers and sequels. I've seen Terrifier 2 as well and love that, but I really love the original one. The creepiness of it is just outstanding. Like the clown, his silentness, the curiousness of what's in his bag, what is he doing, why was he there, you know. Then he's stalking these girls and unleashes total terror. It's just absolutely a gore fest, and it's wonderful, and I suggest it for anyone to watch. Terrifier 1 and Terrifier 2. And that would be my ultimate favorite top 5 horror movies. Hope you enjoyed.